trying to make this be my friend. Okay, that's a little too much. Aww. Thank you for resubbing, Ruby. You're awesome. And have fun dancing, Owen. You guys see me moving my mouse around a lot. It's because I'm fixing things in the background. Oh, joining in podcast. Hey, Jess. Okay, I think I got everything working with me. Can you guys see my mouse okay? I had to switch a lot of things around so I was able to see chat as well as do this at the same time. Figure we can make today a learning day, since Monday we did that conjunction read, because I don't think we have anything coming up. And can you guys hear me well? I'm just making sure everything's set up before we start talking about stuff. Awesome. Okay. So, I have mine up here to start with. I don't want to just grab someone's chart and never stick it up here to do that, but I don't have my little book in here that has all my stuff in it. But I don't think I'm going to be doing transits every day pretty much when I'm live, even before tarot readings now, since that's what everyone wanted that voted for it on Instagram. And so if there is a particular thing happening, like, you know, a full moon, new moon, a planet going into a different sign, obviously we'll be looking at it before we do the tarot readings from now on. So even if I'm not remembering something right now, we'll definitely go over it Monday, because you got 30 minutes to kill. Okay, Owen. But like I was saying, I'm going to be doing the transit readings every day that I'm live before I start things. Like either we'll have a full-on astrology day where we're learning, or I'm going to do the transits of that day, or if there's something coming up later that week, I'll do the transit looking at that date before we start the readings. But like I was saying, with this whole thing, I have mine up here just because I don't want to put anyone else's up here. If you guys want to use mine as an example, learning some aspects, we can do that, unless you want me to pull yours up, and then I can actually do that for you on here instead. Depends on what you guys want to do, because this is all about what you want to learn today. So you're back to complain about freezing, Owen? I mean, we're literally in screen kind of capture mode here right now, so there's nothing huge happening on the screen. Oh, and I got an update on the emotes. They, which would be a great Christmas present. It looks like they're going to be getting finished around Christmas or Christmas Day. So if that's the case and there's no revisions needed, like if I feel everything is just freaking glorious, like, then I will be putting them out on Monday. Ruby's going to be able to use them because she's subscribed. She's just going to be throwing some mermaid emotes everywhere. But with them, it's like if you're subscribed, you get to use like all the emotes, plus you get all the discounts with me personally for readings, and plus the discounts when I start doing the courses as well. So, because magic, which will pop up in the chat randomly. But what do you guys want to do? Do you want to use mine as an example and ask questions on that, and like different, like learning different aspects, how things fall, or do you guys want to use one of your own charts as an example? I'll leave that up to you guys. Use Owen's chart. Just throw Owen under a bus while we're sitting here. Here, let me just pull Owen's up real quick. Where are you at, Owen? Okay, so we got Owen's chilling over here. Well, I'm sitting here laughing. I'm sorry, Owen. I'm over here laughing at your Okay, I'm just gonna start going over some things here for Owen. So, and I think you asked me, Owen, how this conjunction was gonna be affecting you too. So, hey, it's time to talk about it. So we already know that Saturn and Jupiter are in Aquarius right over here. Now, 8-degree orb, Owen's midheaven as well as his Uranus is all up in this conjunction right now, and it's going to be in the conjunction until around 13 degrees. So you're going to be feeling this for a while. Because, you know, slow ass moving planets. You're going to be feeling it probably all of next year. And, yeah, probably all of next year, and then it'll probably be getting past that point. But, What's going on? Can you hear me talking, hun? Go into podcast mode like Ruby is so you can hear me talking. I will tell you everything that I'm saying out loud. You can watch back at me, circling little things in your chart, but mainly this is going to be me talking to you, which circling things in your chart would be nice, but I don't think I have a writing tool. More tools? Can I? No. I don't have a thing I can write with. But if you're in podcast mode and you're listening, I will say everything out for you. So, what I was saying to you before was this conjunction in Aquarius with Jupiter and Saturn is conjunct your Uranus and your midheaven. And it's going to stay conjunct until 13 degrees, which is going to probably be into next year, or most of next year, before it moves out of that range and you're not feeling it as heavy because it won't be conjunct that anymore. Now, you're also going to feel really heavy this trine that you have going on here with your Mars and your Mercury that is going to be having the same effect until about around 10 or so degrees, which once again is throughout most of next year. You're going to have this trine between the conjunction itself and your Mars and your Mercury. So, this energy, we're just going to talk about that in itself right now without looking at the rest of your chart. Having Uranus and Aquarius and its natural ruler in your 9th house and currently having the conjunction in your 9th house is pretty much bringing in all of this energy about rebelling against the status quo, wanting to learn things that other people are finding taboo, or possibly like breaking structures around what you used to think, whether it was spirituality, also things you've learned. And since this is also in your house of higher learning, I could easily see next year working out for you, but you might be having, like how you're experiencing the restriction on school right now that you're going through, where you keep getting the bumps in the road with it. That could be Saturn coming in, slowing down that energy, which could mean that around fall next year you probably will get into school if you're still having that restriction. If not, and you're able to get in the spring, it's going to be a little difficult. You're going to feel like you're kind of pushing against a lot doing it, but your drive in your mind is going to be really in it. It's like you're going to be very in tune with it if you're able to actually get started on it whenever you get started. Now, if it is in the fall, you're going to feel a little less tension, but it's going to be moving into your 10th house. So it's really going to put a big focus on career. And this whole energy is also making you strive to have like your own unique footprint while you're doing these things. Like there's a big energy on you right now that's all about not fitting in with shit. And it's going to be all over your person because this is in your first house, connecting to how you're pushing through things and how you're communicating with people. And it can be very easy for you to get random ideas that you just start talking about out of nowhere that are way over people's heads because you just start talking about it because it comes into your mind. And it could be otherworldly things. You could be talking about like different things that you're not okay with dealing like with authority figures, structures, different things, and how they like bring in this expansive energy of like space and different things like that. There's like a lot here. But you could also start being very focused on the body as well, and your appearance, which in a way, if you use this to a positive aspect, you could really get a lot out of the health aspect of this, because if you don't turn to the vanity of what this can bring, you can actually use it to create a sort of understanding of yourself and being able to communicate what you need as far as boundaries to keep your health in place, and like having up that front, like having people see that you are a person with, okay, car, thank you, having people see you as a person that actually has boundaries instead of running all over you. Because you could actually use the authoritarian energy of Saturn to kind of like step up and be like, you guys need to back off. And it's not going to come out that way because with Aquarius, it could come out in some random ass way or very unexpectedly where you put your foot down in a situation where people just don't expect you to even ever stand up for yourself. But this is going to be because you're expanding and you're learning so much, not only about what's going on outside of you, but also because of what you are trying to put out into the world and what you want to be seen as opposed to this energy that people keep projecting on you. Now, once this starts moving and it gets closer to 8 degrees with this conjunction in Aquarius, it's going to start picking up and being conjunct with your Venus as well. Not conjunct, but trining your Venus as well. And it'll still be trining your Mars and your Mercury. So going into next year, probably towards middle-ish, you're going to be having everything in your first house trining this conjunction that's moving along with Saturn and Jupiter. So once Venus comes into the mix, because these two planets with Mars and Mercury, it was yourself, it's your drive, your communication, what you're trying to do, and plus they're very like close degree, they're barely a few minutes apart from each other. So it's going to be a huge focus on that. But once it starts getting towards that 8, like I was saying, you're going to start feeling some focus on relationships. And this is going to happen because these new boundaries you're putting up and these old things you're ripping away and just being like, I don't need that shit anymore. This is already going to have this energy sitting in your 10th house. Because by 8 degrees, it's going to be in your 10th house. And once this starts happening, you're going to be starting to feel there's certain relationships that don't add to what you're trying to create. And some of them are going to feel very restrictive. It's going to feel like instead of allowing you to be individual, you're going to feel the stifling energy. And it's going to be something where it's very visible to you. And if you're paying attention and if you're listening to other people, because possibly they could also be telling you that certain relationships are doing this, because it's going to be something people see on you. It's like this whole thing you have, this stellium with your first house. It's going to be where you're working towards being able to see the shallowness in certain relationships that you have that actually makes you come off as more shallow, which obviously that is not what you're going for, but it's like having that happy-go-lucky kind of energy, even though you have a lot of depth to you, is what people expect out of you. And this is going to be you ripping up that notion of like, okay, you guys expect this, but this is who I really am, and being bold and being in that energy. Especially when it comes to people that before you might not have really stood up to because you respected out of authority. And this is going to be a transit that lasts almost the rest of the conjunction in Aquarius, because that energy, once it gets past, like, it's not going to go out of it till about 24 degrees with your own Venus having that energy. But by the time it moves out of your Venus, like I said, 24 degrees, literally once it starts going into the 25, it's conjunct this, like, okay, how do I put this? Because 8 goes to 24, so once it hits 9 and past, it's going to be conjunct your moon and then eventually conjunct your sun and eventually your moon, because you're very close to being born on a new moon. Now, having both of these in your second and having these trines going between those conjunctions that are going to be now sitting over here towards the end of your 10th house, what's going to happen is now there's a big focus on, and this might actually happen because of this close connection with your mom. Like I told you before, she's very heavy in your chart. She's actually the point of your yod. So with this coming through and causing a trine in this area, what's going to happen is everything with your Venus in your first being connected to both your heart, your emotions, your intuition, helping you work through some of these more difficult aspects of understanding yourself and creating value, where possibly these authoritative figures have been tearing it down. You're finally starting to understand, because this yod point's getting activated by these energies moving, and it's going to stay that way until they're actually out of the air energy. Like, you're going to be feeling it for the rest of whatever, with them being in the Aquarius energy. So literally the entire time Saturn is in Aquarius and Jupiter's in Aquarius, you're going to be feeling them trining some of your planets in some way. But it's going to start first very individual. And once you're starting to develop that individual level, then it's going to start moving to relationships. It's going to join the relationships with individual, and then it's going to move from individual to subconscious. So it's almost like you're evolving as they're moving on. And I'm trying to look around and see here. With your... There's going to be also... I know you're going to be like, oh God, but during next year, between late May and like around my birthday, early June, because I'm June 1st, I'm going to be right in the middle of it, there's actually going to be a stellium of Gemini energy sitting on your stellium in your first house. So there's going to be tons more of trines to this energy sitting in your first house around the middle of the year. Now, we're also going to have the Aquarius stellium. Oh, joy! Even more Gemini energy for you, Owen. But we're also going to be having the Aquarius stellium that's moving around in there, too. That's going to create a whole bunch of trines to your stuff. So beginning of the year, you have a whole bunch of trines going on with the stellium in Aquarius. Then middle of the year, you have a whole tons more trines with the stellium in Gemini. Then there's going to be a stellium in Libra. Now, you have both your Chiron and your North Node in Libra. And these transiting planets, I'm going to start moving down and talking about these ones. They don't show the lines between the connections on these, okay? But your Venus is trine your North Node, and also your Chiron. And then your Mars and your Mercury are also trine your Chiron natally. This is natal interaction here. And so is your Sun. Your Sun's also trine to your North Node. Now, you already naturally have those energies, and it creates an air grand trine that you cannot see because they don't show these aspects between Uranus and Chiron here. But Chiron is connected. You actually have a couple grand air trines, actually. You have you have two grand air trines in your chart because it connects to Chiron. Now, with Sagittarius coming in here, what's happening with Sagittarius? Okay, I'm not trying to talk about Sagittarius yet. With this Aquarius energy moving in here, automatically you are like dun dun dun. Once it hits 1 degree, actually technically at this what it is now, because your 8 degrees a very early 8, and since it's like 0.50 or something, or it might be 1 degree by now, you already have these trining your Chiron, which is creating 2 more grand air trines. So technically at this moment you have 4. So transiting conjunction is giving you 4 grand air trines by itself right now, because it's adding 2 to your natal 2. Now, as it keeps moving, and plus as that Aquarius stellium decides to show up at the beginning of the year, you are kind of flying away. Oh my God. Oh, just hilarious. I do gotta say, so you made me cry, Owen, oh my gosh, but, with these literally a walking air party. There is no doubt about that. But when this Aquarius stellium happens, you're going to be getting at least 3 more grand air trines popping up and jumping around your chart, if not more, added on to the 4 that's chilling out there right now. And the same thing's going to keep happening as things are going around your chart in each of these air stelliums. And plus, there's going to be air retrogrades. So you're going to be having all these grand Earth. I have the grand Earth. You're going to be having all these grand air trines bouncing all over your chart and just having the time of their life, even when things are in retrograde, because there's going to be retrograde planets that are happening in the air signs. So you're going to be feeling all the back and forth, jumping all over. Oh my gosh! Let me let my kitty out before she has a spaz attack. Come on, little. You can go wrong way. This way. Go on. So just so you guys know, if the smoke alarm starts going off, someone is cooking downstairs, and I open the door and I smell smoke, so I will try to mute the audio if that happens. But I'm so sorry if that happens, because there's actually a smoke alarm in this room and it will scare the shit out of me. But it's kind of bad, but it's kind of a joke around here that there's a certain person that when they cook, there's always smoke. Even though the food turns out fine, there's always smoke. So it's a big joke going on around here. It's pretty funny. But obviously the fire alarms is something I could live without, but, you know. But let's see. Going into what I was already talking about. So, we are all going to be here for Owen this year. Oh gosh, here goes. Wait, let me see if I can turn it off now. Mute. Okay, can you guys hear me? I don't know if it's safe yet. If it happens again, I gotta click. I don't want you guys as having your ears like blown up by the freaking smoke alarm. Oh my gosh. I'm like crying from this. I'm sitting over here. We gotta be here for Owen through all of his grand air trines, and then goes on. Oh my god. Let's all support Owen with that with that nod there. Okay. Oops. I did a thing wrong. Okay. Back to what I was saying while I'm still crying. Anyways, pretty much for the next couple of years, Owen, you're just gonna have a lot of grand air trines. Like, there's no way around it here, and I know it doesn't show them going to your stuff, but it's... And they're pretty close conjunctions as well, so it's just they don't show the conjunctions on here unless you put, like, show all aspects, but I feel like it just... honestly, it just makes everything look really muddied up when I do that. But the thing is, if you work with it, you won't be a mess. I mean, you could easily be a mess, I'm not gonna lie to you, but if you work with this energy, like I was telling you, like, it's giving you step by step what it wants you to do. And of course a car needs to go by. Everything today is just it's just not working out. But as this is going through, because like I was saying, the first focus is really going to be on yourself, especially since your Mars, I mean, all three are all your first house. Mars, Mercury, Venus is all trining your Chiron. But the thing is here, with this early degrees of this conjunction, it's going to make the grand air trine with only your first two. Which is really this inner focus, but it's being able to learn how to communicate it in a new way. Because you're probably going to start understanding things in very obscure ways, especially with how you natally have this Uranus Aquarius energy, and it's at exactly 4 degrees. Like, your foundation is in unexpected, like, aha moments constantly. But that's how you learn, is through having random light bulb moments. And this is going to bring a lot of those. Though sometimes when you're trying very hard to push, it's going to create some restriction on that. So the more you just allow yourself to kind of like be easy breezy, beautiful cover girl over here, like just kind of go with it, whatever kind of experiences are happening, allow yourself to experience them, especially with this 9th house energy. Like, really allow yourself to fully dive into things, because that's how you're going to learn. If you're sitting here trying to force yourself to learn the way others learn, especially since your stuff has to click on its own, what's going to happen is you're going to stifle yourself. But this whole Ruby's just gonna sit here crying. Like, today I swear is just freaking comedy. I don't even know what's happening anymore. But this is really going to help you in your career. Like, it's going to help you get ahead, because instead of being in the box, this is trying to teach you to be even more out of the box, because obviously it's kind of natural for you to kind of be out there and do that, but it's going to make it more refined. It's going to help you make it to where it's a business savvy out of the box that really puts you ahead, because it's, I mean, you have Saturn, which is this Capricorn energy, and you already have natal Capricorn energy in your 9th house anyways. They tinky. But with this energy, it's trying to help you be able to bring the spontaneity to your work and to your learning, so that way what you're putting out, the thing you want to create, what you want to actually be proud of this lifetime, is uniquely yours, is what it's trying to show you. And then building a foundation in that, like, that's the structure that Saturn's trying to help you create right now. And oh my gosh. So, you're going to have all that going on. And then with Chiron, it's bringing in this element where you need to heal. And it's going to be very, it's like the word that's popping in my mind is obscure. Like, it's going to be like random, this healing you're going through. Like, these grand air trines that you natally have, and then these transits that are adding into it. It's pretty much like, let's have like a full-on focus on some healing. We gotta heal this like communication over here, because there's obviously something going on that's kind of like really funky right now. But if you really try and you're trying to put yourself in a box of what works for other people, what's going to happen is you're going to become very frustrated. You're not going to be able to communicate the frustration either. And it's going to activate that freaking random Mars you got going on over here, where you can spectrum, where you can be completely cool or you can just fly off the handle. It's like that split is what that Gemini causes. Like, you can be completely cool or completely bored of something and drop it, or you can be completely passionate or completely fired up and like want to stomp somebody. It's like it's hard to have an in-between with that. It's hard to have that balance. And that comes out in your communication very naturally. It's like you're going to communicate that, whether like people like it or not. And with this hitting natally your Chiron anyways, and then having more grand air trines wanting to say hey to your Chiron, this is pretty much bringing up this feeling of karmic crap is coming up. And it's going to be rapid because it's air energy instead of this like slow moving earth energy we're used to. Like, you were really going through it in your 9th house with these earth transits already. And this is going to feel very different. Because instead of feeling stuck and heavy with how everything was hitting, and plus you had your Jupiter return, but yeah, you did, because it was in retrograde, but you went through a lot with all this earth in there, and it felt heavy. It felt like completely torn up, especially since you had that Taurus crap going on over there, which we're still going to have for a bit, but it's going to go direct beginning of the year. And it's going to start moving forward. It's still going to be having fun in your 12th house, though. You're just going to be having Uranus in your 12th house forever, it looks like. But this energy you felt that was very heavy, because you're a lot of air. It's like it's hard for you to be in this earth energy. You're literally going to be in your element, like with these transits. And it's going to help you move quicker, because that earth, in a way, like, yes, it made you sit. Like, literally, it took you and made you sit, and it made you have to do things that were very uncomfortable, and you had to give in to a lot of situations that you couldn't control. And that's what you had to go through. Now, with Saturn moving into this air, it's pretty much like, okay, everything you did, everything you created and worked on, while everything was in Earth, is getting shifted into this air, and it's like you're going to rapidly get back what you were putting in. And then if you keep putting in more into that energy that's already like doing this tumble forward, you're going to keep collecting that karma, and it's going to keep coming back to you in unexpected ways, especially with it conjunct your own Uranus. And I'm sitting here like, and it's like, drink your water. The first time Nightbot's been on time with that. But this energy can be very beneficial for you, because, like, for you, fast-paced works. It just does. In a way, it would make you more tired having to drag your feet through mud like you've been doing. And now you're going to be able to feel, like, this rush of, like, wait, I can actually move now and I'm not stuck in a hole. So it's like a very different energy to have right now. I'm a bit dry, dearie. But it's like, this is really going to start helping you to communicate these things. And like I said, this is going to keep moving around. It's going to go from how you express yourself, how you deal with your emotions as they flare back and forth. It's like helping you find that balance, especially since your healing's in Libra. It's like the way you heal this is through balance. Instead of trying to balance other people, it's like you need to learn that balance for yourself. And in turn, it unlocks creative blocks. It's like the blessings you get is unlocking your creativity every time you work at this. Now, what you might notice, every time you clearly express yourself and you start to be more and more forward and people see that side of you, that's when you keep getting more and more creative. It's like an effect that happens, especially with Uranus up here in the 9th. It's like you get this reward for just letting your own unique genius come out, however way it's going to come out. But this Saturn and Jupiter's like, hey, I'm going to bless the hell out of you for doing this too. It's like it wants to step in and be like, you do this healing that's part of this grand air trine, like all the way, like it's going to keep carrying on around your chart. It's like, it's going to really help a lot with you being able to do that. And then once it starts going into that grand air trine that includes your north node, it's almost like you're going to be prepared for the energy, because doing all that healing that comes with working through the grand air trines on like hitting your Chiron is actually going to keep moving you forward until you're comfortable in that energy. And what's odd that's coming through for you is you're actually grounded in air energy, which, I mean, it's like a home base for you, which would make sense, but it's almost like air energy grounds you. And you being able to work through the healing with it, because you need it to be spontaneous. Like, if you're sitting here sticking your nose in something and, like, just forcing yourself to do something, your Mars is just like, fuck this, I'm over it. Like, this energy right here, it's like you need spontaneity in order to learn, in order to grow, and in order to actually heal yourself. Because it's like, if you do too much for too long, it bores the shit out of you, and then you want to tell people that it's fucking boring and you don't want to deal with it. And it's like, this energy is moving in like, hey, let's get the show on the road, let's get moving with this. So it'll be kind of like a rapid fire for you while you're going through these things. But if you're kind of following along as it's happening, like if you like actually get the dates of certain degrees when your stuff's going to be changing, then you're going to be able to actually kind of map out and like be like, okay, this is why this is starting to happen now. Like, you're moving out of, like, say the Mars and Mercury energy. Say you're starting to move past that and you're more in the Venus energy, or more in your moon and your sun's energy. It's like, as time's moving on, you're going to notice the change in where these things are being focused. And right now, at the early point of the year, especially since we're going to have the Aquarius stellium and everything's in earlier degrees, the main focus is going to literally be on your Mars and your Mercury. You might have a little bit of Venus depending on where some of this Aquarius transiting stellium is, but you are really going to be feeling it at the beginning of the year with the Mars and Mercury. Now, once we start moving towards the middle of the year, you're going to be feeling it more like a little bit of your Mars and Mercury, but it's starting to go into Venus energy, where you're starting to do more healing when it comes to Venus, which your Venus natally is trining your Chiron. So anything that is in Venus view is still creating a grand trine to Chiron. Now, with the energy towards the end of Aquarius, that's when it's going to start affecting your self-value. It's like, pretty much you work through everything that you needed to, that's like people project on you what you want to be towards the world, not what other people feel you are. It's like you actually reinventing that aspect of yourself. Then it's going to move into that deep feeling of security and self-worth, because then it's like it led up to that. Like you learned the way that you want to, like where you want to put your ambition, how you want to communicate, what type of relationships you want to attract to yourself. And then it's going to go into this deep subconscious place where towards the, probably not until the following year, but you're going to be feeling a lot towards the end of the year when we have that Libra grand air trine, because it's going to be having a bunch of fun activating your Chiron and your North Node and then making more grand air trines with that. So it's pretty much like a lot of healing of your personal self and what you want to project out so people can't project onto you. It's like pretty much like putting up an aura where it's like, look, you ain't coming past here, no entrance, bye kind of energy. So it's like that is happening. But then it's like you start moving into relationships, which some relationships are going to bleed into it, because some of them, you know, you're just going to have to be like, you know, this ain't working out, come in like the Queen of Swords and cut it and be like, you know, like, bye bitch, I don't need this in my life. So, and then plus, you know, once everything starts moving towards later degrees, or at least middle degrees, you're going to have the Grand Earth Trine bringing in that North Node energy, and with it being in your 6th house, which it is like changing up your routine, and it's like this feeling of you need to do this, which your Saturn actually, it's like, yeah, I think it's still in the 8-degree orb, like it's almost not in there, but it is opposing your North Node. So you have like this freaking impatient ass karma opposing your North Node. Is like, hurry up and create what you need to get towards this, which doesn't help North Node energy at all because it's already obsessive in the first place. But this is going to help you heal parts of yourself that makes you more comfortable in that energy and integrating it into your everyday life, being able to create balance and beauty, which is that energy you want to go into. It's like you're kind of being able to learn about people and those really beautiful relationships and just having them as part of your routine. It's like that is how you're the healthiest, is when you have very healthy relationships. Because I think that's why there's been so much focus on your readings, everything else when it comes to romantic relationships, friend relationships, family. It's like your North Node is in this energy. It's like you're having to learn correct, healthy relationships in this lifetime. And with your midheaven being Aquarius, it's like you need community. You want to be in this community aspect where you're constantly learning and you're expanding and you're like allowing yourself to create from this space. But at the same time, you don't want to get boxed in. It's like you don't want to be put in the box and say like, I'm just this one thing. It's like, no, I am multifaceted. So it's like you're trying to there's a lot of talents you naturally have, and it's like diving into those and expressing them and really getting to the nitty-gritty of them and really starting to be proud of what you can create is really going to be opening you up a lot this year. And it's going to be very rapid. So if other people are like going slower than you and you're like, okay, maybe I'm rushing this, you need to really listen to yourself, because your stuff's not going to be the same. You're going to be like on your own rim with this energy because you've been stuck in this Capricorn energy over here where you've just been like, this shit's driving me nuts because I'm being stuck in this and my foot's stuck in this hole over here when I'm like, I'm barely out of it. It's pretty much how you were feeling before it moved into Aquarius. It's like your foot's still stuck in the damn hole and you want to pull it out. You're almost there. But it's like now it's there and it's starting its work. which is going to keep speeding things up. And I know you guys have been seeing what's going on already. Like, it's barely been in this conjunction energy for like a couple days, and things are going psycho. Like I said, with the media, things are going psycho on that global level. But that's because things are getting torn down. People don't like certain shit. So that's going to be all over the place. It's going to be a huge ruckus. But on a personal level for you, you're just going to be in your element, literally. And as things progress, I wouldn't be surprised if the higher learning you get isn't what you're expecting. Because if you think about it, if you have this unexpected turn of events that can just happen in your house of knowledge, what is keeping it from turning into something else? It can be very unexpected. It can be a blessing with Jupiter in there, and it could be something that literally has been waiting to come to you with the karma of Saturn. So I wouldn't be surprised if the reason you were deterred from this spring is because something's happening. So like I said, if you get tons of resistance trying to go into this, something else is supposed to happen and you're supposed to listen to it. And I'm trying to see if there's anything else on here. Pluto's currently in Capricorn, forming and in conjunct to your sun. So you got another in conjunct hitting that over there. And it's also conjunct your Neptune. So you're really going to be feeling these last phases of Pluto. And also as, Pluto gets a little closer to that 28 mark, you are definitely going to be feeling it making another yod. You're going to have a Pluto yod on top of your Neptune one pointing at your moon once Pluto starts reaching that 26 degree mark past 20, like to 29. Like the last phases of Pluto, you're going to be having your yod activated to your moon. So you got that going for you too inside this air energy, is having a nice yod activation, which I'm going to go ahead and tell you that yod activations are like a whole freaking thing on their own. Oh, but yeah, that's like, this conjunction is really bringing like a lot of highlights to this energy. And then of course Pluto's going out with a bang in your chart. It's like, you know what, I'm gonna highlight every damn thing. First I'm gonna in conjunct the sun, and then I'm gonna form a second yod to your moon. So like I was saying, it wouldn't surprise me if your mother actually becomes a lot more prevalent in your life as you're moving throughout this year, because it's just going to keep building more and more. Or next year, I should say. It's not that year yet. It's like next year, even though it's like a couple weeks. But it's like, into next year, you're definitely going to be feeling that. But yeah, like this is, I can see why you needed your thing read. You got it going on over here. And like I said, you're going to be having it going on for a few years. So it's almost like, in a way, even though your Saturn isn't Aquarius, your Saturn's Aries, and you wouldn't have your Saturn return until then, it's still going to feel like you're having so much activity in your chart, like for years to come, just because of all this. So, and plus it's going to be activating this North Node energy a lot. So that's going to be a whole nother thing on its own that you're going to be learning. But I mean, you'll have fun. Like, I don't doubt it. Like, I feel like you're going to be like a bundle of fun to the people that you love and you can stand, but to the ones that are like, I ain't dealing with this shit anymore, you're definitely gonna be like that Queen of Swords energy, and you're just gonna be like, I'm cutting this bitch out of my life now. It's like you're not gonna have that sentimentality or that feeling like, hey, I had like this very like rooted connection, like, you know, that earth energy that's a little more slow to act. Air energy is just like cut off, like I ain't fucking dealing with this shit. And during the retrogrades, if you are having to go into any kind of retrospection on a relationship or just some kind of thing, you're going to be so like over it before most people, because you're already going to know because you've been sitting in the energy. So anything that's going to be making you look back at like certain things you need to change, you're going to be like, can this go direct so I can do it already? Because I know. Like, I already know. And this is just making me have to slow down while I do it. Like, the retrogrades are going to annoy you. Because you're going to already be in this energy of, like, flow. But, yeah. But, yeah, definitely, you are going to be a walking party, pretty much. I mean, all of us are going to be having fun having air parties this year, but you are literally the entire next couple years going to be a walking air party, having a lot going on. So don't feel the need to suppress yourself. Like, this is helping you to just completely bust anything that was known as a box wide open. And who knows, maybe you're actually going to get a platform and being able to do this, because there's going to be so much Aquarius energy sitting in your 10th house and conjunct your MC before it moves into your 10th house. It's almost like you're learning about what you want to throw out there. So it wouldn't surprise me if something you did went viral, especially with all this energy tying to it and just like bolstering communication, just like throwing it like straight out there. And you have your MC at 5 degrees, which is like this huge need for freedom and just like jumping out of the box pretty much. So, short-term payment. See, that's the thing. I don't know all these little tiny things that have like their names that go to them. Like, I basically think of numerology, which I just said literally it's like busting out of a box and doing something you want to do instead of filling the restriction with that degree. But, I mean, that makes sense. Yeah, I can see 17 and 29 just thinking about numerology wise, because if you look at the numerology of 17 itself, it's like forward movement, but it's also having that sense of introspection, of being able to understand yourself while you're moving forward. And it also has the energy of 8, which is very tenacious energy. It's like constantly working towards what you want and building like an empire with it, like just staying with it. Now, 29 is like that intuition plus that 9 energy, like the 2 energy of the intuition and the 9 energy of the just that spiritual nature, then combining to that 11 energy, which is even like a very guided thing, like being on a path pretty much and understanding it and doing it in this lifetime. So you can pretty much break down those energies. I mean, that's probably how they came up, honestly, with these things, because literally, I mean, there's energies off of the numbers, and they probably just coined terms to make them be more appeasing to people and easier to digest. But if you break stuff down and you look into the energies of the numbers and then how they're reflecting throughout the chart, then you can definitely see that. Like, I could connect your MC to your 5th house of your creativity, because like having that 5 energy, and what you have in there is your Chiron. So your Chiron is in a grand air trine with your Uranus. So these unique ways that you learn to heal yourself, you could probably stick something out there and that could be the thing that goes viral. It's like, hey, this worked for me and nothing else was. It's like, oh shit, this connects to a lot of people. That's really cool. It's like, you know, that kind of thing. Very unexpected. It's not like you're trying to do anything. It's just something you did because it made you feel alive and happy, so you did it, and then all of a sudden it made other people happy. It wasn't like you were trying to get anything out of it. And that's why it's so unexpected. It's just like you go with your intuition on something and you just do it. It might be hard for you because having your Chiron at 8 is a lot of hard work in the healing. But it would be even more reason why you want to express it and share it, because you know how hard it was for you and you want other people to understand that there's other ways of looking at things, which is a beautiful thing. So it honestly wouldn't surprise me if that happened with you throughout these next couple of years. And even if it is for a couple of years, hey, you can make a lot of money in a couple of years with something going viral. Aquarius energy is the perfect energy for it. Ooh, baby. So yeah, if you get any unexpected like creative bursts, and even if it's hard and it's like painful, like allow yourself the room to go through it. Otherwise, like you're kind of wasting this energy that's trying to come in and like pull everything together for you, multiple areas. But yeah, that's you, Owen. You pretty much got an hour reading over here, almost an hour of how special you are. But it had a lot of stuff in it that people can learn from, though, because you have yods, you have where you can see where these grand air trines would actually point and make a triangle. But it's like being able to see each of these things is good for people to be able to learn. Because like I was saying, with this inconjunct over here, you already have like Pluto sitting kind of right here. So it's doing the same thing that Neptune's doing and bringing down these inconjuncts over here as it moves further and further this way. But you were good for being able to show these type of things. I was just looking to see if there'd be anything else that created things, but I don't think there's going to be much else that's going to be really big during these transits that's going to be causing a huge impact on your chart. I mean, obviously going through different motions and different planets and everything is going to have an impact, but at the same time, it's not like you're just in like the next year or whatever. Like it's not going to be like major planets are shifting or you're going into a Saturn return or something. And I love you too, hun. So I love how Ruby like threw you out here to get your stuff ready. But you figure out where your ride is. Have fun dancing. I mean, move that body. So the little devil face. Okay, so who is next on our little shindig over here? You want to see what yours looks like, Ruby? Let's get it up here. Okay, so I'm trying to see what I want to talk about first here. So you have, and we have to remember that Gemini North Node is still at very early degrees over here, and it won't be getting till about the middle of next year towards 10 degrees. So a little later than the middle of next year is when your Mercury's finally not going to be trining the North Node. But that's probably why you're getting a lot of hidden coming to you now through your communication. But this whole energy with you doing this deep dive and really wanting to learn about these different things like astrology and all the other occult sciences, as well as trying to understand the communication that comes with it too, because this is like, especially with it trining the Mercury, it's like you trying to harmonize how you communicate these things that you're learning, because with it being in your 12th house, it's almost like you have this double energy of both the 8th and the 12th energies of the hidden and the unknown coming through here, and you trying to learn to communicate it, but it can become a little obsessive with having both North Node energy and 8th house energy together over there. So one thing is with your mind and the subconscious a lot, it becomes very obsessive in this point, and it can make you go down rabbit holes very easily. Now, with Aquarius, we already have Saturn in the early degrees, and you have very early degree Mercury, as well as that North Node's early. So you already have 2 grand air trines just from it moving into Aquarius. And it's encompassing Mercury, North Node, Jupiter, and Saturn energy in this. Now, this, plus it's hitting your 4th, 8th, and 12th. This is very spiritual for you. This is like soul deep dives. This is like understanding pretty much the hidden aspects within and without and above. Like, you're just trying to understand everything and learning to communicate everything. And plus, it wouldn't surprise me if this energy starts clearing up a little bit with the Aquarius hitting it, because it's going to make this kind of, instead of you being like this waiting energy where it's kind of like murky and you don't really have anything to kind of blow away the fog, as you call it, it's almost like this rush of Aquarian energy coming in and shifting that. And it's really broadening your perspective when it comes to like the human experience, which actually is going to help with a lot of soul healing. Now, this energy, like I was saying, is going to be going on for you well into next year, because until the North Node and Saturn Jupiter are in 13 degrees, you're going to be having it conjunct your Mercury, which is well into like the latter portion of next year. So you're going to be feeling that energy specifically with helping you with your communication, which could also be a lot of energy trying to help you understand how to communicate these different things where you've had blockages with lyrics throughout your life, and just being able to express through different motives or modalities. Like, I'm saying your different motives, but this is going to help you to start being able to understand how to communicate these things. And when these ideas come to you, it's going to be like rapid creation, as opposed to like very controlled and very like boxed in creation. It's almost going to be overriding this earth in your chart. And this is going to continue, because even if it moves past the 13 degree mark, by the 8 degree mark with both of these, it's already conjunct your Venus, and it's going to stay conjunct your Venus till they're at 24 degrees, both of them. I mean, trining your Venus. So it's like 2 grand air trines that by 13 turns into like 5. It's just like you're going to have so many grand air trines sitting here because of these transits, just because of the position and the degrees that your Mercury and your Venus hold in your 12th house. But all of these grand air trines are taking place in your 12th, 8th, and 4th house. Now, some of it might move into your first house as it's getting to the later degrees, especially once I said like it's getting to that 24 and it's starting to move into that energy. Like you possibly could have even more than that, because as Jupiter and Saturn start getting closer to say like the 8 degree mark, I think 8, 16, no, 10, it'd be like, I'm probably thinking around, but it's like I can't add. My brain just stopped adding. But 17, once it gets to around 17 degrees with these Aquarius and Jupiter things, it's going to be conjunct your North Node. And it's going to start bringing in that North Node energy and I have an Aquarius North Node. Mine's getting activated at the beginning and throughout most of the year. By the time mine is finally not being activated anymore, that's when it's kind of moving into yours, and yours is getting activated. So throughout the whole beginning of whatever with this, like I have it, and then as soon as it moves into that degree, because mine's going to be at 17, literally like how yours is 17, mine's at 17 when it finally isn't conjunct mine anymore, and yours is going 17 when it conjuncts yours. So you're going to be feeling it after I go through feeling it. But with this energy right here, it's really trying to help you first work through the mind with understanding these energies, like, because having North Node obsessive energy in that 8th house, it's like trying to get you to understand that your mind is more in your control than you think it is, and that it's like you needing to step up and take out these talents that are being pretty much laid latent because they're hiding in the 12th house, and allowing yourself to blossom. Like, you need to allow the blossoming to happen. And you actually, once everything starts getting to at least 4, I'm trying to see, because at some point you just have T-squares, but slowly getting there. Well, you were slowly getting there because it was earth energy. Now we're in this air energy where it's just going to be like, hey, like, let's communicate these things. But having this Aquarius in your 4th house is like really like allowing you to pull some deep stuff from like the soul level, especially with Saturn. It's like that karmic energy really coming out in that. So what you've been building is really going to be seen like this shining soul light almost, which is really good for your Aquarius midheaven. Not your, I called it Aquarius midheaven, for your Cancer midheaven, because when you're activating from that soul space, because that's the natal 4th house energy, it's almost like you're bringing the natal energy of the 4th house into your, the natural, not natal, the natural energy into your midheaven, which is going to be really beneficial to you, because it's pretty much allowing your intuition and your emotions to guide you through things instead of being so head heavy. It's like you can detach from these logistics that you're always going through with your Virgo energy. It's going to allow you to just be like, okay, I'm gone with the wind, guys. Like, I'm allowing myself to express. I'm allowing myself to be more free in my relationships, because this hidden energy with your relationships and always feeling like there's certain relationships that are just there to tear you down or out to get you, and having that paranoia, it's almost like this is coming in, and like if someone does that, you're like, hey, I can just cut it. Like, you can literally just look at things and be detached from it and allow yourself to go through what you need to and learn from it and be like, okay, I forgive, because the house, that 12th house energy is I forgive, I have compassion. And it's going to be really about teaching you that, even though you might not understand things. And since these things are getting activated, there's probably going to be some unexpected stuff happening to you with this 12th house energy, because, obviously it's like, the house is surrender. Certain things happen that are completely out of our control. So this is trying to teach you through going through these things, and it'll be rapid changes, that you can be adaptable. This is trying to help you build an adaptable nature, because you have so much earth. Like having your sun, moon, Mars, Neptune, Saturn, and Uranus all in earth energy is pretty much like this heavy, like, clunk kind of thing sitting there. And it's like you're having like all of these transits coming in, especially since you have this heavy earth energy both in your 3rd and your 11th, which is those like heavy communication houses. Having all these grand air trines popping in and trying to be like, hey, let's just communicate. It's like it's kind of overriding that earth energy that like tries to protect you, especially that ego protection that comes from your sun being mixed in with your moon and Mars. It's like you're learning how to step out of that and rewire the energy, which is very Aquarius, like actually learning to rewire the mind to like being more of a rapid fire thinker instead of having to overanalyze every single thing that shows up. It's like you can go into this area of trust, and it's like it's going to help you find the blind trust that's actually healthy for you, instead of that like I have to tear everything apart, and if one thing's wrong it won't work. It's like it's going to help you be like, hey, I just want to try shit, and if it doesn't work, hey, it didn't work, there's more stuff I can try. Because like that's air energy, that's like wanting to like kind of go in and try different things, being able to explore things, being like having the different friendships and being able to move around and do those things. But it's really trying to pull you out of your bubble that you've created, like that very like restrictive energy bubble where it's like you only communicate a certain way, having that poise, having that like when your internet presence, having that very constructed image, and making sure that what you're showing is very reined in, it's very meticulous. Like this air is gonna come in and just be like, woo, and like it's like it's gonna show you pretty much Owen's energy, but it's gonna help you break out of your shell, like your very heavy rock shell. And having this with your soul energy, with this Aquarius coming in, is pretty much like this structure and like restriction that you could feel when you start trying to push through this. You have to allow yourself to kind of go with it. Like it's going to be like kind of weird because you're so used to this heaviness over here that it's going to be like this weird tug of war happening, because obviously air and earth energy is like this weird like friction here, right? It's like air smacks walls or it like knocks trees over. It's like it has like different things, like either it won't go anywhere or it completely destroys something. This Aquarius energy coming in and just having a bunch of grand air trines is trying to help you destroy old ways of thinking, because it's like something is really keeping a lock on you allowing stuff to just come out and be spontaneous. And it's been that way. Like your chart's like, I gotta keep it locked up, like it has to come out perfect or I'm not expressing it. Whereas this energy is gonna be like, I have no filter. There is no filter for me, so I'm just gonna be very expressive. I'm gonna tell people about what I'm learning. I am going to just let it come out however it's gonna come out. You never know, you might randomly be doing songs while you're talking and it just like comes out naturally and it's recorded because you were talking. So it's like you won't be in this mode of like, I need to write everything down, make sure it sounds right before it comes out. You're just going to allow it to come out. And even if it's raw, that's what's going to make a lot of people respect it, because it's soul. Like you have soul in your music, and that's what's trying to like happen here, is it's trying to make you see that you need to break this image and this restriction you've placed on the soul here and just allow it to come out. And whatever happens with relationships, even if people come up being shady and like only being around for certain things, you're going to be able to understand it, and you're going to be able to weigh the balance of pros and cons with the relationships and actually take them for what they are, instead of feeling like you're only losing if certain things happen with relationships. It's going to be like, my peace, my sense of mind is more important, and I honestly don't have the time right now to be dealing with other people's crap, because I got stuff to do. Especially when it starts moving closer to your north node, there's going to be this energy of like, it's my time to shine. It's my time to be doing this shit. Like, it's really going to put you in that energy where you're more secure, because after moving through all of this beginning energy with trying to understand how to communicate, understanding what this hidden kind of north node energy with it in your 8th house, you're going to be able to really deep dive into the soul level of your own north node, because you understand it, and it's going to combine both of those energies. And the more you allow yourself to be open to your spiritual side and exploring it, the more rapid this will be, because it's almost like you're trusting yourself to go through the motions. And the more you do that, the more rewards you're going to reap, because, Jupiter is all mixed up in this too. So it's chilling and doing its thing and wants to give back to whatever is going on in your life if you're doing the right stuff with the energies. So obviously with it being in Aquarius, it's almost like, hey, we can shine a light on the soul down here and let you express everything and like build your own little community with it. And it's something that'll really ground you, because you'll have that community to pull from while you're putting things out, and you can feel that love and that family kind of, because you need that going up there with that midheaven. Like, you need to have that balance, and you need to have that feeling of security while you're out expressing yourself, because you can be fierce expressing yourself if you feel like you have that community behind you, which this is what it's going to be helping you create. But it's going to take you a little longer. It's not going to be like friggin' Owen's speed demon shit that he has going on with his houses, but it's going to be more of like personal year 7. Yeah, I think mine was an 11 this year, my personal year, which makes sense. I mean, look at all the crap I did. But yeah, it was like a freaking personal year 7 energy. But next year, I'm not sure. I don't know what next year is going to be. I haven't even looked at my next year personal year thing yet. I should look at that. But yours isn't going to be as crazy rapid as Owen's, because he has so much more, because you have Libra and Aquarius placements, but you don't have Gemini placements. He had Libra, Aquarius, and Gemini placements, so he already had stuff sitting in his chart. And plus what you have isn't necessarily conjunct. I mean, it's barely, yeah, it's actually outside any kind of trine that you can have too. So none of your stuff, even like the north node down here, is out of that orb. So it's not gonna trine naturally in your charts like how Owen had like all his crazy shit at different degrees. But your thing is like, you have the start off where you go through one, and then you have them moving pretty much together, going through this, and then transitioning at some point where both are conjunct, and then only one is like, so you're going through different motions as the year's going on. Or years, not just one, because yours is going to be kind of like a slow going into each one instead of like a pile on, because he had stuff conjunct itself and trining and doing all this other stuff. So like with you, it's going to be a lot, like you're going to be getting what you need, you're going to be learning the energy, but it's not going to be at a crazy pace. And it's going to be good for you because you have so much earth in your chart that if you had that overwhelming thing like Owen does, you would be so scattered you wouldn't know what to do with it. Because, like, with Owen, that's literally his element. Like, that's what his chart is. So he's going to feel very free with that energy instead of all the restriction he felt with the air. With you, it's going to be very new. It's going to be you coming into, especially since your air's hidden, it's going to be like you coming in and finally understanding, hey, this is how I use this. It's like you finally coming into your own with it, instead of feeling like you don't understand it. And a lot of your hidden talents are going to come out because of it, and a lot of trust too. So while this is happening, allow yourself to trust it. Like, if your intuition's kicking up and telling you stuff, like, go with it. Like, allow yourself to really, like, just expand in a way. Like, that's how you're going to get blessings too, because your natal Jupiter is in the 9th house. It's like the more you learn, especially in Cancer, it's exalted in Cancer. Like, me and you both have the Jupiter Chiron thing, except mine's conjunct. But, like, having those energies is like, you are going to get blessings on blessings if you are doing this, because stepping into that Cancer energy is literally how you get that blessing here. Dude, oh, dude, freaking Owen, dude. That was a joke at the very beginning when we met him and saw his air chart without even realizing all the crap he has in his chart. Because I actually hadn't taken a close look at his other stuff, and realizing he has those grand air trines is like a whole new life for him right now. But yeah, this is really going to be helping you get into that Cancer energy, which will be good for you. It's like you're going to be able to create what you want to create. And as long as you're going more with your intuition instead of what other people are telling you, and you're actually expressing it, even though sometimes you feel like you're just being pushed to express it, because that's how 12th house energy can feel sometimes, like you're just literally being shoved into it. Once you can start really going with it and allowing, instead of trying to like fight it, and you're just kind of like in Pocahontas mode and feeling all those colors going around, you're really gonna be just in your, you're gonna be feeling it, and you're gonna be able to integrate it into the earth and make it a little more lighter and a little more playful instead of so heavy. So that's really gonna benefit you a lot. And like I said, with Owen, there's going to be air stelliums traveling the map. So obviously all of us, with there being random stelliums throughout the whole year, we're all going to have multiple grand air trines if any of us have placements. Especially if we have Libra ones, since we know Aquarius has transiting and we know Gemini has that North Node transiting. If anyone has stuff in Libra, it's just like you're automatically going to get them. My IC is Libra, so I get my IC getting smacked with everything. But, so I'm going to be in the soul boat with you. But, yeah, that's pretty much what's coming out for yours, is it's really lightening this heavy earth load that you have here. And it's allowing you to be more expressive instead of being so self-critical and like really internalizing a lot of things instead of just letting it come out and expressing yourself. It's going to be like this very freeing energy for you, and you really breaking away from some of these restrictions. And if you feel things like trying to hold you down and not really allowing you to express your truest self, look around and really take in what it is. Because whether it's a relationship or situation or whatever it is, that's trying to show you that this is how you're going to learn to reinvent yourself, is by understanding that these restrictions are being put here to test you, to see what you can do with what's being given to you. So it's almost like also helping you gain the confidence as well. But, 333. 333. But, yeah, like, we're definitely all going to be sitting in an air party all year long at some point. Though I gotta say, be on the lookout for that. I do gotta say, Owen's like the head of the parade up there. He's pretty much like that. What's that guy that marches at the front of the band with the baton and just like, oh god, I can't remember the name of it. Oh my gosh. But it's the person that like leads them walking around while everyone's playing their instruments. But there's the person. Is it the major? I can't remember. But oh, you're welcome, Ruby. But I can't remember what that person is. But Owen's pretty much that person at the front that's leading everybody with like stomping around and waving his wand around and twirling it and like having fun and shit, while everyone else is kind of like, and trying to lean into it. But yeah, this is going to be very interesting. And for those of us that know how to work with the energy and not allow all of the crazy outside shit that people are going to be doing, because people are going to be going crazy if they're not learning from this. But if with us working with it, it will be a very interesting year. It's not like it won't come with its challenges, but we're going to be able to go more quickly through the challenges with this air energy if we know how to use it. The people that just kind of I don't know what to say for these people that are trying to work with it. They're gonna be so scattered and throwing their energy everywhere. So if you're around people that are doing that, that's because they are losing the damn minds because they don't know what's happening to them and they're like on crack or speed. And it might even be the people that never talk, that are complete chatterboxes and can't shut up, and you actually get annoyed by it because you're usually the one that talks more and you're like, when the hell did this person start talking so damn much? But that's kind of like what can happen too, because people don't know what to do with the communication energy if they don't have it. So, I mean, it wouldn't surprise me if you became even more talkative. I mean, you're already trying to do your own thing with your music and getting people to like come in and join that. So it's like you're already stepping out and starting to do that. So it's like you're learning your communication already. You're starting to go into it. But the people that are like not knowing what's going on, they're going to be driving people nuts. Like, and they're going to become very clingy. It's like, even though it's air energy can be very clingy if it needs like a sounding board, like a continuous sounding board. So don't feel bad if you literally feel like you cannot handle somebody and they need to give you space. Like, make sure you're like, give me some freaking space, because having that 12th house Venus, it's kind of hard to create boundaries, and this is trying to teach you to be a little more objective and have more logic behind the boundaries you're creating, and that you're only bringing in what is actually going to help you build. Yes, they can take a hike. All of the people that are going to be coming out acting like they're on crack can take a hike somewhere. But especially on the internet, we're going to be seeing some crazy ass people on the internet. But this right here is what I'm definitely seeing in yours, which, like I said, it's going to be slower than Owen's, which is good for you because you have so much earth. It'll help you kind of ease into it. But it's going to be helping you along in the same way, though. So it's going to be kind of the theme next year, I think, depending on where people have their stuff. It's going to get more insane. Like, the internet's going to kick up. It's going to freaking... it's losing its damn mind right now. The media, the internet, everything is just losing its damn mind. And it's just going to keep going. Like, this is just, like, literally the start of it. And if anything, like I was saying, this is just showing that air energy moves so much faster than earth energy. Like, it's showing the night and day energy here. Like, it'd be different if we were, say, like, moving, like, earth to water or something like that. Like, it's, like, at least water is still kind of flowy, a little slower. But just jumping earth to air, it's, like, night and day. It's like, okay, let's get this going. But, that's what I'm going to do for today. And I'm going to rest, because all this buildup to this air energy drained the living crap out of me. And I need to make sure I'm listening to all of the tarot things where the Four of Swords have been throwing themselves at me where I need to rest. So, dude, the internet is going to make stains over everything. It's not even going to be spilled milk. It's going to be like having dust on the table or something. Like, it's going to be really ridiculous. But then there's the flip side of it because, you know, there's the crazy. There's also going to be the very amazing, loving communities that are going to come out of it, too. So it's like the balance of the good and the bad. It's like there's always going to be the balance because they have to even out. But it's making sure you're in the communities that are right for you and not necessarily just like throwing yourself into things because other people are pushing you. It's really important to do what feels right for you. But I'm going to go ahead and stop here, do the resting thing like I told myself I was going to do. And I will be doing, like I said, transit readings Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. But on Monday, I'm still doing the pick a card after. Tuesday, I'm still doing the collective after. And then Wednesdays, if there are major transits we want to talk about, or if there's learning with charts like today, then we'll do that. But I'm glad you guys wanted it, but I did want to combine more astrology with my stuff and then be able to combine numerology too. Because I feel like that's like being able to teach and learn is a lot of fun. But I'm going to go ahead and call it here. And I will see everyone on Monday. Bye-bye.